Hello everyone! Today we're gonna have a look at the gameplay in Clair Obscur, which I did not cover in my previous video due to it being the tutorial basically, and mainly just story beats. So in here I'm approaching an optional boss that's really hard, it one-shots you, and I'm gonna pick some trouble with it. So we did see a bit of the UI, right? But what I'm doing here is I'm shooting it with the free aim on its weak point. So that is a really cool mechanic that is not present in other turn-based games. You can actively aim and shoot. Then of course you get your skills, magic and special attacks with weapons. In here I think I'm gonna throw immolation at the thing. Nope. It was an ice attack. Anyway. And then the enemy strikes. If he had hit me, I would have died. So one of the really cool things of this game is that it's an active turn-based game where you actually have to actively defend against the enemy's attacks. Or die, as you can see here. You get two defensive attack options, which are dodge and parry. I'm also playing in the hardest difficulty, which it's I don't know, I can take it. So that was my first attempt at that boss, and this game really needs you to learn the parry and the dodge components. Dodge is a bit easier, it has a bit more leeway in the timing. Parry needs to be almost perfect. And if you're playing in the hardest difficulty, then this is even more so, because the timing gets more generous the lower the difficulty, from what I've read. And then here we are at the boss. I am gonna attack him first, so that's a first strike. It allows you to attack before the enemy can do that. Some other RPGs also do that thing. What was it? It was a game with a dragon, published by Sega. I don't remember the name, but I'll put it on a subtitle. You will notice that during that attack I was pressing the A button. If you press it in the yellow area, it counts as a perfect, and it allows your skill or ability to deal more damage. That was the free aim. Here we go to the skill. Perfect, perfect. That dealt more damage. This guy is pretty resilient, so... Perfect dodge. There are some... They're called pictos. They're basically passive bonuses. So there's one that when you perfect dodge, it gives you action points. And action points is what you need in order to use skills. The way to recover action points is to just do a regular attack. And also there's some abilities that have synergy. For example, Loon has an ability where, I believe it's called thermal transfer, that will give her 4 action points if she hits a target that's on fire. And there's a bunch of those combinations to try out and discover, and they're pretty awesome. I'm really enjoying the game, even if the storyline is pretty damn heavy. But anyway, so here I'm gonna shoot it in the face, put some damage in it, and then doing the 4 strikes, again with the A button, doing the perfect to deal more damage. At this point in the game I didn't have the thermal transfer yet, because I didn't have enough experience to learn it. I started getting bold there, and I started trying out the parry, because the game recommends you start with dodging, and that's fine advice. But you're really not going to learn the timings for parry if you never parry, so you're gonna see some deaths. And if this is a problem, like you just can't parry worth a damn, and I know in some cases I can't parry worth a damn, then by all means just lower the difficulty, because it is a shame to miss out on this game because the mechanics are hard. There's a story difficulty. I'm never gonna try it. I'm just going to get stubborn and push through the game on the hardest difficulty because I guess I like pain. I don't know. I started getting really bold with this guy, and I didn't kill him on this one, I don't think. But that's basically it. It's essentially a turn-based game that has some active defensive components, which turns it a bit into, at least from my perspective, a turn-based Dark Souls, which I think is great. And then I failed, yep. Also, there's other things you can try. Obviously not against this kind of enemy, because this enemy is designed to do this, right? This enemy will one-shot you no matter what. It's a parry and dodge check, essentially. Before we get into the next fight, there is another mechanic that I want to talk about, and it's a jump. So the enemy will slam the ground, and you will have to jump, and then it allows you to counterattack. This one is not as punishing as dodge or parry. The timing seems to be way more lenient, and it's very well advertised. I do like how the game eases you into its mechanics. Even if the dodge and parry are punishing from the get-go, it doesn't throw you everything at once. Only most of it. Anyway, let's move on to the next section. On this attempt, I finally killed it. It was quite a fight, and I did really enjoy it, and I was feeling pretty happy with myself because I did put in dodges and parries. I didn't take any damage. All I can say is, if you're interested in the game but you're put off by the mechanics, don't. Just put it on the lowest difficulty and go at it. And then if you're starting to feel confident, just bump it up a notch. And remember, you will never learn to parry if you don't parry. There's some other things you can do which will help you, and this is what I'm doing. Gustav, the guy, I'm putting in all my points on defense and some on health. On Loon, I'm going on agility to make her faster, and also health. And I have noticed that Gustav does take less damage from regular enemies. Not this guy. As I said, this guy is designed to just one-shot you. It's there to check your ability to parry and block, to parry and dodge. And obviously every monster has different timings, so what I do is I just run around in a new area, just fighting everything, and then saving, going back to fighting, and that way I start learning the timings and the problems these enemies may cause me, right? All in all, Clair Obscur is a really great game, and I highly recommend everyone to play it. The story is amazing, the mechanics are great, the combat is really cool, and if you want a challenge, it is there. So this game has it all, and it's also very reasonably priced. The game is a labor of love, and again, I can't recommend it enough. So, with all that said, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.